Hello. So we
Hi.
are on time. It is 7 o'clock p.m. Hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug, and you have just tuned into the Business Plugs Mixer. I come on every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern and introduce new ideas, fabulous people to the people that follow me. And if you're on LinkedIn, go ahead and subscribe and join us so you'll get the notifications. If you're on Facebook Live, go ahead and hit the notifications button. And if you are on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, I was trying to think of the third place. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this in the replay, put hashtag replay. And if you have questions after we've gotten started, go ahead and ask your questions in the comments. Or if later in life you're watching this in the replay and you have questions, go ahead and put those questions on. I do have the questions turned off, so even if we're not live, I can still come back and respond to your questions. So with that being said, let me tell you a few. I am so fat. I'm so excited about our guest this evening. But before we get to her, let me tell you that LSMB Business Solutions is having a business plan sale. Right now, you can save 10% on business plans. It's funding season everywhere. People are trying to get grants, they're trying to get loans, they're trying to get investors. And so we want to help you get there by giving you a 10% discount on all business plans. Second to that, beginning the week of May 9th, mark your calendars. If you want to start a business, like you've had a business idea rolling around in your head forever and you're ready to start it, well, guess what? I want you to start it well. I am an affiliate of the Kauffman Foundation's Fast Track program. It is a 12-week course where I teach you all the different aspects that are evidence-based, proven that entrepreneurs need when they start out the first 5 years. So if you're interested in being in that class, I'm going to have the link in the description, but I want to help you to learn how to do business well because everybody's a part of the great resignation, right? Everybody's quit their jobs and we're living fabulously. But if you don't get some type of business education, your business is going to fold before you know it. Statistically, before COVID, it was 3 to 5 years. But with COVID, so many people, so much competition, I'm thinking that number is going to be more like 12 months. So I want you not to spend your time and spend your money in a business that won't flourish. And so I'm teaching you using the Kauffman Foundation's platform how to do business well. With all that said and done, I have just completed all of the housekeeping stuff. So at this time, I'm going to welcome my guest. Hey, Miss Mary, how are you?
I'm doing really well. And let me apologize for my voice. It's allergy season, and I'm trying to take advantage of every single day of it. So I've been muting myself and coughing. I apologize.
Hey, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. And if I didn't bring water in here, but if I have to get up and go get a drink, just continue on like I'm just continuing on because I have it too. I woke up this morning since COVID today, especially. I woke up, my lungs were hurting, and I
Mm,
very different. The very different. That's the first time that's happened. But
wow.
then after I got my allergy medicine in me and took my inhaler, it's better now, but I didn't go to church this morning because my lungs were giving me a fit. So I had to watch my service online this morning. And yeah, so I get it. Hey, do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. But
All
yeah,
right.
so let's talk about Miss Mary.
Well, I have always worked either in automotive or in construction. And then, kind of the last part of my career, I had moved back to Dallas from Nashville, or from Franklin, Tennessee, and I started doing some healthcare recruiting and worked for a magnificent company out of Boston. I commuted back and forth to Boston from time to time. And then, through a series of mergers and acquisitions, that company went away. And so I decided that I wanted to do something on my own. Well, the first thing that I did was make connections so that the folks that I had worked with in the healthcare realm, the candidates, could have a soft landing place. So
Mm.
I'm still doing that all the time. And then I wanted to do something to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have always been a firm believer in honeybees. And I used to go out when I was little and beg my daddy. Oh, my daddy hated dandelions with a passion. They were his kryptonite. And I would just beg him not to do that, because as the bees started to swarm in the spring, which they're doing now, that's the first flower. And that starts their food process. So he would leave them begrudgingly for the bees to eat. But my business partner and I we found this company. It is an agricultural surfactant company. Now, it's agriculture, but it also is lawn and garden.
Mm.
What a surfactant does is it mixes in with what you spray, and it makes that spray more effective by using less product.
Ah.
Now, my product is 100% non-toxic. It's biodegradable. As it dries and it's done its work on the plant or the bug or whatever, it dries into a powder finer than baby powder and blows away. So it doesn't go into the groundwater. But you're cutting back, particularly on that herbicide,
Yeah.
because when you spray herbicide, we've all done it. We've sprayed, things at home. You have that drift, and it
Right.
goes everywhere, back on you and on Rover and Junior and everything.
Yeah.
Well, my product gives you almost 0% drift. So
Wow.
where you spray it is where it goes.
I love
We
that.
sent some down to Birmingham, Alabama, and the azalea festivals down there.
Yes, beautiful. Oh,
And you don't mess with your neighbor's yard if you want to continue to live in Birmingham. And the girl wanted to kill some weeds and things that backed up to the neighbor's beautiful yard, and she was afraid to spray. So she mixed her product, her herbicide, with my product. She sprayed. Everything in her yard died. Worked out great. Neighbors didn't even get a yellow leaf on their azaleas. So, and actually her neighbor went on to win yard of the month that month. So it worked out really well. But it is good for the environment. And as I said, you're going to use at least 30% less of herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, fertilizer, anything that you spray. You're going to use that, but you're going to get even better results than if you were using full strength.
Oh,
So that's helping, especially, and I know you've seen the news where everything is so expensive now for the farmers, and the price of food's going up, everything like that. Well, this is helping them to save money and to save time.
right.
And I grew up on a farm/ranch, and my daddy used to say, we'll work till we're done or it's too dark to see. Well, I remember dark, but I don't ever remember done. But this is really, it is a wonderful product, and it's for anybody that uses it. It helps you with whatever you're doing. Even like car dealerships are mixing it with their fungicide as they spray the inside of cars from one person test driving to the next, because the spray it goes where you put it and it stays where you put it.
Wow.
So you don't have any runoff, anything like that. So you're saving money all the way around. But getting back to one of the most important things is it's not harming anything. I mean, you literally can drink my product. It's not going to kill you. I mean, my 14-and-a-half-year-old Akita has licked it off of my fingers. So it's not going to hurt you at all. So that's what's more important to me, because hitting on the bees, this time of year, bees are swarming. And I know people go outside and they get really scared and they kill bees. And I understand that, because a lot of people are allergic to bee stings. But what I don't think a lot of people think about is the pollination of our food. That if those bees, now other things do pollinate, but we're going to hit on bees. If those bees disappear, we're going to follow them in about 4 years, because our food's not going to be pollinated.
Yeah.
And so, when you're outside, take a look. If it's a honeybee, now I'm going to admit, I'll be honest, I have killed wasps, many wasps in my day, but I've never intentionally killed a honeybee. But, take a look and see, if it's a honeybee, leave it alone, walk around it. It's not going to chase you down and eat you. It's not Tyrannosaurus Rex from Jurassic Park. But that's what we're working on with chemicals. And of course, we're working on developing some sprays and other things. I'd like to, within the next couple of years, have products that are organic and, fall under the green.
Mhm.
And then another thing that people really don't realize is if you buy a product for your home, for your yard, for your farm, and it doesn't say made in the USA, it very well could be made in another country that has no rules and regulations.
Mm,
So you may be spraying battery acid. You don't know
I know.
because there's no governing body. But my product, as I said, it's made in the USA. My badge is right there on the label, and it's on all my material. And so that is another thing. I don't want to eat food that's grown from seeds from another country. I just don't. That's not something that I'm interested in doing. But that's what we're doing is we're trying to help folks to not put as much poisonous things into the environment or onto themselves.
And that's very important for people because, like right now, you have a lot of plant-based menus, right? People
Yes.
having
Yes.
plant-based diets, and it's important to understand where those plants are coming from
Hmm.
and what pesticides or herbicides have been put on those plants because we're ingesting that, right? And
You
so,
are.
and the thing about it, you hear about the popular weed killer that now
Mhm.
people are saying, oh, it's caused certain cancers. And
Exactly.
so, yeah. And
We
so,
see that we see that commercial, every day on TV. And it also goes back to many years ago when my dad was still alive. He passed away in 2002. He had a friend who had a mowing contract. We've all seen the guys mowing on the side of the road. And Daddy would not go out when they were spraying because he made reference to that spray would come back on those guys. And so a couple of years after Daddy passed, his friend that had that contract literally got sick and died. They
mm,
couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. I mean, he lived like less than 2 or 3 months. And I've always thought that it has something to do with that. My product, when you do spray it, instead of, how water beads up on your car after
mhm,
you get it washed? Well,
yes.
my product doesn't do that. It actually flattens out and covers the space. So it's covering up the bee, the bug, the leaf, whatever you're spraying on. It's covering that whole space, and it's staying on there. We have we have mix-ins that keep it on there because if it beads up just like your car, it's going to run off to the side
Absolutely.
and go down into the ground. But we keep it on whatever it's sprayed on.
Mm.
Therefore, it has a better opportunity to work. And that's why, we have the safeners, we have the wetners, everything like that in there. And then also we're a micro lube because so many people, you're spraying and it gets all gunked up and you have to stop and get it undone. And this is especially a problem with the aerial, the crop dusters.
Mhm.
They have to land and clean it out. But when you start using my product, it keeps those lines clear. That's
Mm.
another thing that saves a lot of time for
Yeah.
folks that are doing large scale spraying, or for somebody that's trying to get it done when they get home at 6 o'clock and get in the house and eat supper and watch baseball games. So we're really trying to hit on everything. And like I said, in the future, we want to do green products and everything. So we have our research team working on that right now.
I love it. I love the green product. I mean, but it's so timely in that we are now studying ways that we can, lighten up our carbon footprint.
Yes.
And so that's important when you look at all this catastrophic weather that we're having. They say some people believe in earth, global warming, some people believe it's not true, whatever. Whichever side of the fence you're on, you still have to admit that the storms and the weather disturbances we're seeing are some like we've never seen before.
Exactly. And then, going back to what you were talking about, so many of the plant-based menus and everything. And I'm very conscious. I don't eat processed foods and things like that, but I'm very conscious of what I eat. And, it's just, that comes back to, we grew it, so we knew what was in it. But, a lot of people, I see them, and we've all seen it, they hand their little kids some grapes at the grocery store, or, something like that. And I want to know what's on my food.
Absolutely.
And that's why, no, we've not been able to cut out 100% of the use yet. We may be able to do that, in the future. But I think that we can cut back so much and then make it safer for the farmer or the guy working in his yard or whatever. And we've all had our yard sprayed, and they put out those little signs, don't walk on it for 24 hours and everything like that. Well, you don't have that with us. And so we're not hurting anything. And so to me, that's very important, because I think that we're putting so many, things in the air and on our food and everything that we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And we're ingesting that, and it's becoming part of our DNA.
Exactly.
And so we're passing it on to other generations.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, we don't think about, you don't think about all the side effects
yes.
of toxins, of ingesting toxins that can that can hurt not just us, but also the people that, who aren't here yet, who we are party to. So looking at it holistically and trying to determine how can we still grow vegetation, healthy diets, plant-based diets, healthy food, and be creators of our own food, because with the food prices and the gas prices, if they continue to go up, we are going to become farmers. So
well, exactly. And I think you've really got a point there, because you've got a lot of weekend farmers now, or the farming co-ops in the communities and everything. And nothing against them, but they're going out, they're stopping at Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware, and they're buying a bottle of that shall not be named, and and they're going home and spraying it. Where all they have to do is, if they're going to use that, unscrew it. Literally, if you're just going to be spraying, like, in your yard and everything, a cap full of my product, cap full, maybe 2, put it in there, shake it up, and start spraying. And you're going to see an immediate difference. I tell everybody to go buy a spray bottle. You not even have to buy the big spray containers. Go buy a spray bottle. Give it a squirt. See what it does. Add in my product, shake it around, give it a squirt. You see the immediate difference. It's not something that's long-term or anything like that. It is mix it in, shake it up, and it works.
Wow. And so are you in stores yet, or how can people get it?
We are working to get into stores right now. You can get it online at our website.
Okay. And what is your website? I'm gonna put that here.
Okay, it is Agajuvant. It's AG ADJUVANT.com.
And so there it is.
And we just added a new co-op group, Mid-States. They are in what I call the corn and wheat belt, up through the middle of the country, and then out on the West Coast. We're working, actually, we've got a couple of meetings set up this week to get some folks in our part of the country and over onto the East Coast. So hopefully by this time next year, we'll be in your local stores. We don't really want to be in like the big box stores, like the Lowe's and Home Depot and everything. We would rather be in the smaller stores where they can also benefit from the sales.
Absolutely.
And so that's we've got a healthy business plan over the next year or so. We did start the company in 2020, and that we just won't talk about that. But
that's the forgotten year for everybody.
That is I even took that year off my age. I don't know about you, but
I know it don't count because I was not myself.
No, me either. But even during that time, I really enjoyed going to the farmers market, because we could still get, because especially in Texas, and and I know in Tennessee, lots of things are grown locally. In Texas, a lot of the food comes up through the valley. And so it's really nice to be able to go to those places. And I'd like to give a plug to the Franklin Farmers Market in Franklin, Tennessee. They have a great farmers market. The downtown Nashville one is really good too. But if you want one where you can take the kids and kind of make it a family outing, then I recommend heartily the Franklin Farmers Market. Great food, great products.
I have to tag them on this on LinkedIn.
Yes, and if they've got the fudge from the Noble Dairy Farm right outside of Murfreesboro, get over there, get that fudge. You will never, ever regret it. It's so good.
So all my chocolate lovers, you know where to go get it.
All your chocolate, but they sell out early, so get there quick. No. But it's, I think it gave people a sense of normalcy to go to a farmer's market and things like that. They could get something fresh. They could be outside, in the fresh air and everything. And it made people feel it made me feel a little bit better. So, but yeah, we started in 2020, but that also gave us the opportunity to work some of the bugs out.
Yeah.
So that when 2021 came around, that we were ready. And that's, so that's what we've been doing. And we're adding new co-ops, all the time. And then we're working now with, the lawn and garden to get out in the lawn and garden stores. So,
yeah. Well, that's good. That's all good stuff. I mean, it's things we don't think about, but as food prices go where they go, and as you have to think about, because I remember my godmother, they went through the Depression, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things she talks about is her father created a garden in the lot next to their home. Mm-hmm. Talked about they always had, fresh fruit and vegetables, and they even helped stock food for neighbors in the neighborhood who didn't have that size of a property. We're going to get back to that. I mean, and it's not a bad thing to get back to that. No. It gets us healthier, right?
It does, and I think it fosters a sense of community. My father always had several gardens going, but down at the end of our driveway, he had what he called the takeaway garden. And we never went down there and took any of the food. That was for folks that needed food, and they came by and got it. And like at night, we would go all the way around the back side of our property and out by Strawberry Creek, because he said that he didn't want to embarrass anyone who was at the takeaway garden after it got dark. So he always did that. And I think, it started back during World War II with the Victory Gardens. Wow. And, people were growing their own food. But I think, you get out and you can get your whole family involved, kind of like what I mentioned about going to the farmer's market. You get your family involved, and you can do things like that. And then you're not worried about what your kids are getting into. And that, to me, and then going to the farming side of it, I always, when I see a farm tractor or get stuck behind one, and we've all been stuck behind one, I always try to say a prayer for the farmer and for his family, because they're providing our food. Absolutely. And if I can give them back an hour after supper to maybe go outside and play ball with their kids, or sit down and rest. Yeah. Or some, run to the grocery, run to town, go to the movies or something. I feel like that I've accomplished something. And to me, we can all do a job. That's not debatable. But I think if you can do something to really help people, and I feel like with this product that I am helping the general public. I'm saving a bee or two. Absolutely. And it makes me feel like I'm going back to what my father always did with he like I said, with the takeaway garden, and he would go and take food to people and things like that. So I feel like I'm carrying on the family tradition.
Absolutely. Well, good for you. This has been a great conversation, and that's a conversation we don't normally talk about, farming and how the foods we eat and the pesticides or herbicides we put on them, and being more mindful of
Yes.
our footprint on the world, right? The things that we do that we take for granted, because it's easy to go to one of the local hardware or whatever you want to call those type stores, and then pick up some product and not really know. Because I used to use that product, right? And
We all have.
I used to have blowback, right?
Mhm.
And inhale that and feel sick for hours after, because
Exactly.
I've ingested all of that, not really thinking this could probably be cancerous.
Well, we really didn't think until the lawsuits started coming up and everything. And the one thing that if people, I hope people get a lot from this podcast, but to take a look at what you're buying. If it doesn't say made in the USA, it
Mm,
isn't. And there's other products out there. I mean, I want you to buy my product, please, but take a look at anything that you buy today, not just in the lawn and garden, not just in
mm,
farming, but in your cleaning products, anything that you're using in your home, around your family, your pets, the neighbors, whatever. And if it doesn't have that made in the USA badge on it, please don't buy it,
yeah,
because there's no way to know what's in it. And it's bad enough that we're spraying things that we will find out down the road have been carcinogenic, but don't do it purposefully. And
right.
look at your seeds. If you're going to grow tomato plants or something like that, look at your seeds, see where your seeds came from, and be very mindful of those things, because there's no guarantees on anything, but if you buy something that is made in the States, you have a little bit better chance of it being a safer product all the way around.
Absolutely, because sometimes in those seeds you get those aggressive plants that
Hmm.
take over and destroy gardening, right?
Kudzu.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. We have kazoo here. It grows like wildfire. They actually,
Isn't that the state flower of the
it should
South?
be. It truly should be. We had over our ridge cut where it was coming down over the ridge, so they got goats to
Hmm.
go up and eat it, to kind of get it full back some. But yeah, that's it takes over. And you can get those in seeds in your if you're buying your seeds from other places that don't have that screening process
Hmm.
with their packaging. So yeah.
And you can complain that it's hard to deal with the EPA, and a lot of times it is, but they have a lot of rules and regulations to protect us. But unfortunately, they can't say, only buy this product.
Right.
So educate yourself. And if you want to start growing a garden, which I think everybody should, if you want to start growing a garden, go to a home and garden store, your local one, or go to a farmer's market, because they have plants most of the time already started. So
Mm,
you can take home your tomato plants and things like that. And those folks have already done that screening process for you.
yeah. Yeah.
And so I always
It would help.
recommend that, especially when you go to farmers markets and butcher shops and local businesses, you're supporting local businesses. And I used to do, when I lived in Franklin and worked at Nissan of Cool Springs, I did the catering for our whole group, and that was 14 stores. And I set everything up, and I used small businesses. That my thought was Chili's is going to stay in business without me, but BB's Barbecue can use my business.
Yeah.
So you're supporting small businesses, family farms, and things like that, and makes you feel a little bit better about what you're eating for supper.
It really does. It really does. And then you keep the money in your community. So, you
Yes.
think about when you buy large big box brands, you don't know where that money goes or where it goes or how it goes. But when you're buying local, you're actually supporting the local softball team or the
Yes.
local kids who go to school or whatever that is. It just feels good to be able to give something back to the community.
And I think that we need to really look at that. And
I agree.
I think I've got one more minute. I'm writing a book, so
Okay, so that's nothing
I'll
good.
let you know when it comes out. It's just funny stories from my youth, from growing up in the South, and so in my spare time, that's what I'm working on. But everything I do kind of supports the family. That's
Okay.
most important to me.
I like it. I like it. That's pretty good. So this book is going to be a book about stories from your youth.
Stories from my youth. There's going to be recipes in there
Oh,
from family members that like Uncle Bud's pie and things like that. We're going to have things in there. So, but once again, like I said, to me, to support the family and family businesses and small businesses. That's why I get up in the morning.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your yes. Thank you for dropping by the Business Plugs Mixer. We do appreciate you. And I love what you're doing. Keep it up. Let me know how it goes. Because I really want to send people your way, especially it's springtime, everybody.
Mhm.
So all the different winters have gone through. And it's
And
time to start planning.
anybody that has any questions, send them my way. We'll take care of answering them and directing them on how to use the product. We'll get some product in their hands, and we're here to help. So
I love it. I
just
love it.
give me a shout out. Thank you for having me on the Business Plug. I really appreciate it.
You are welcome. You are welcome. I'm going to close out if you'll hold for 1 minute. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug. You just tuned into the Business Plugs Mixer, where we've talked about pesticides and
I'm
homicides,
sorry.
herbicides, pesticides and herbicides. I love it. I
Oh,
love
dear.
this. This is COVID brain. It is so much fun. It really is. I don't look at it as a bad way. It is. It puts humor in everything I do. So you have just tuned in to learn about herbicides and pesticides and how to get the newest additive to your spraying to make it more consistent and to make it where you're not wasting and you're actually saving time and money. Like, how good is that? I just
Time and money. Yes, ma'am.
Amen. I just plugged you in. So go ahead and hit the replay if you're watching the replay. If you have any questions, I just put her website in the chat. Go to the chat, get the website, or reach out to her directly on LinkedIn. Again, I'm Linda Murray Bullard. I'll see you guys next Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m., 6 o'clock Central, in order to talk about the Business Plugs Mixer. I want to introduce you to interesting people with interesting topics. You all have a great rest of your week.